Cool.
Give
So,
a mess in the background. We're putting new floors in my house, so everything gets thrown in my office while we're doing
hey,
it.
I like those American flags, baby.
You know, I bleed it. So
That's awesome. So first things first, when you connected with the email message, I want to pull it up here and share something on my screen. You saw these marketing maps. Can you see that all right?
yep, I can see it.
What, in your opinion, connected with that image in the message that made you think, okay, potentially, I see a potential fit here with my business?
So here's the thing, Vince. I'm an old guy, and
Yep.
and I do not think like the millennials think at all. I mean, to me, that looks like a cluster.
Yep.
But I also know that I've got young people on my team that just gravitate to this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And it seems like that, especially out here in California, we're in a market where this is what attracts people to linger and make the next click.
Yep.
And so I am not speaking from my own personal likes or dislikes or whatever. I see what I see, and I mean, man, this looks like that's it. That's all I'm thinking.
No, that's great. And by the way, you're not alone when you look at this and it just like looks at it and you're like, wow, this is overwhelming. This is just a lot of information. And to be honest, it is.
Yeah.
And so this is his whole value proposition in a nutshell. And the story behind this, I was at a trade show and essentially I was promoting this as a service to, visualize businesses and help people out on that front. And I was talking with a couple of doctors and I was pointing to, this is kind of where you get leads. Those leads come in, become appointments. All those appointments, they become consults. And then from there, you close so many of them.
Yeah.
And this gentleman's software, oh, by the way, keeps track of all the leads, all of them that closed, and the total sales.
Yeah.
This is, and so you're taking technology, software, and putting it into metaphor, things that people understand. And the funny part here, Bruce, was that these doctors are like, well, give me the name of this guy, like 3 or 4 of them. And so, the interesting thing there was, here's a guy, I just watched, a few of this, Bob Mangan is the name of our client, his Zoom calls when he's talking to people, pitching doctors on his software, and I put this picture together with the help of my team, of course.
Wow.
That was kind of the genesis of this whole thing. And, you could have junior salespeople walking people through your process. And so leveraging your time, so when they get serious or they get more qualified and educated on what you do, you can come in and close them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes all the sense in the world. Why do I see 2 of you? Well, I don't see 2 of you. I see 1 of you and 1 blank that just says your name on it.
That's my iPad that I've got connected to this.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, got it. Okay, cool.
In case I need to do any kind of doodling or sketching. So the other, here's another client that we're working with, Corey Peterson. Are you familiar with Corey? Are you familiar with Corey at all?
No, I'm not.
So he is in apartments, right? Multifamily real estate.
Uh-huh.
He set up a mastermind. I flew out and attended his mastermind. This is the outcome of sitting with him and his crew for 3 days. And I spit back this picture of how to sell apartments for his business. And if you start in the upper right, you've got 2 factors that are kind of funding this, or just 2 factors that are making it very just enticing for investors. And one of those is boomers are moving out of their big homes into smaller apartments, right? They're downsizing. Here's the data that supports that.
Okay.
Millennials coming in, and I think it's actually like 8 out of 10 millennials that are coming into this arena as well, because they don't want to, that's the data that's here. They want to essentially rent and not own.
Yeah.
For the reason. And then you have the investors here that are considering options. where to put their money, CDs, bonds, REITs, Wall Street casino, if you will.
Yeah.
And then apartments. And so we're going to cover off kind of the annual return of each. And then we have this as unmarked because something with the government, SEC or something, you can't have the returns. But generally speaking, my client can get 6% a year for 5 years. And then when he sells the apartment, another 6% annualized over five years. So this is a story we're telling people, and we're doing it all through a picture to get them to connect with it. And to your other point of, does that make sense? Is that pretty cool?
Oh, that's awesome, is what that is.
And so someone like me can gather investors and get people excited, and then I can just turn them over to Corey. He can answer all their little odds and ends questions, and so he's going to use this in a PowerPoint deck. And if we go back to kind of what we did for Bob, this is how. Let's see if I can grab that PowerPoint. And so to your point of, oh, it's overwhelming, you can actually break it down. So every PowerPoint presentation is, you just walk them through step by step.
Yep.
It's not as overwhelming.
Yep.
And it connects with people a lot easier.
Yep.
So go back to that window. The beauty of Zoom calls. Do you ever use Zoom calls?
Oh, I use it all the time. In fact, I'm going to be on one of my team meetings. I do, for about the last 6 months, I've been doing team meetings virtually. I do once a month, first Tuesday of every month, where it's belly to belly around my conference table, but everything else is Zoom, because I'm getting ready to move to Tennessee in about 6 months, and I'm trying to get my staff acclimated to me not being at the table with them. So
sure. Cool.
They don't know that yet, but that's the way it is.
It's coming. It's surprising. So this is a presentation we put together. So we have the main visual here, and then we just go section by section. What are the objections of the doctors? We get those all on the table. Questions you might have. Okay, so where do you get your leads? And little by little, we can break this image down.
Yep.
And put it into a clean, concise, professional-looking PowerPoint that you can add to a PowerPoint that you already have. The other thing is he prints this visual out and puts it and sends it in this shock and awe package. If you do one-on-one conversations with people, you can print this out and put it in front of them and get the wow factor and have them go, whoa, what is all this? And you can go through section by section and break down for them what you're going to offer them. So I just wanted to show you those little samples and get your mind clicking and jiving on kind of how, we might set something up for your business. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You're in real estate, and is there a specific part of real estate that you're in?
Residential.
Okay. And what's your biggest challenge when it comes to gaining, clients in residential arena to go with you and not someone else?
Well, I think that there's, like anything else, there's a lot of noise out there, and so there's a lot of people that make unfounded statements about them and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I'm just, I've been around long enough to where my reputation precedes me in most cases. Yeah. Not with the new clients necessarily, but with old clients. I use Commission Sync just like, John does. And so my leads, we have a huge source of leads. We get 400 to 500 leads a month coming in. Yes. So that isn't necessarily a problem, but I would love to have something kind of like this that as you were breaking it down in those different slides, it would be cool to be able to have something to give one of these new leads that don't know about us and don't know about our reputation, because we talk about being a full resource center. We talk about, we have, the lender in-house, not necessarily, it's not my company, it's not tied to me, but he's a proven lender that we've used for years. We talk about having our admin team in-house so that, when you go with us, you get the comfort of having a whole team surrounding you rather than just an individual agent. So that would be really attractive to me if we could break it down in some kind of visual graphic where it kind of is self-explanatory. Yep. But the other side of that coin is I am always looking for good agents who will come and join our team without buying in or drinking the Kool-Aid of thinking that they're going to go get their license and be a millionaire next month. You got to work for this, and it takes a while to build a reputation. And so I kind of see what you just showed me as having two avenues or two vehicles to speak to two totally different audiences.
Yeah. And so the agent one might just be the process of what it takes to get up to speed. And yeah. Is that kind of what you see as well?
Yeah, the process of what it takes to get up to speed, but also the process and the systems that we have in place that they can utilize to circumvent the years that it took me and every other real estate agent to create those systems. I mean, they can just step in here on day one and start using these systems like somebody that's been with me for 5 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you have that process, outlined in some sort of linear fashion where?
Yeah, I don't know that it's clear enough or concise enough. I have a kind of an onboarding training kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That is outlined, but I need to make it a whole lot clearer.
Yeah. And that, so part of the process is just that, where, you could send me that information and we could schedule another call. I could look at that, generate some rough sketches and then, serve it back up to you. And then you can go in and clarify, say, yeah, Vince, this is working, but let's add a little sub step here of, if they use this tool, they're going to be up to speed. If they use this little tool over here in step 4,
yep.
And that's kind of how it goes. And without having you create any more work for yourself, like if you could give us those onboarding documents and then let me generate a rough sketch. And then we just beat that sketch up saying, no, it really should look like this. That way, we're not taking a ton of your time and it's not, mm-hmm. You're not procrastinating to get anything done because you're juggling your main schedule. But that's kind of how the process would work. And
okay.
Then, and as regarding so you don't have a leads problem, you have a conversion issue. And maybe you don't, maybe you convert them, but in
my mind, we're converting around 2 to 3%, which is good for internet leads, but I want more. Yeah. It's never good enough for me.
Sure. Yeah. And so what's the process you take for converting those leads? You have people on the phone? They come in to your...
Yeah, well, the way I have it broke up right now is my buyer's agents. I've taken a whole lot of my my systems and revamped them from Mike-ish. Because I've known John for a couple years now, and I've taken what works out here in California and put it in play, and left what doesn't back there in North Carolina. But right now, when a lead comes in, the call goes out to a call blast to all my buyer's agents, and whoever gets it presses one and tries to at least make contact with that lead. So the lead is followed up within 2 minutes.
Wow.
At least attempted to follow up within at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that it's that, and then I also have an ISA who is my wife. Who makes calls and follow-up calls for the ones that are missed by the agents.
Cool. I mean, that whole process there, would that go into that second agent piece, perhaps, of how it all works?
Yep.
Yeah.
That would go into that process, yeah. And then like when a like if we're talking clients, you know, you're going to talk to a live person that's actually on my team, not somebody in Bangladesh or something like that. I mean, they're going to be a local person. But more importantly, the goal of that first phone call is to start to establish some type of a relationship, because what my goal is for my agents is to make an appointment, to get together, an informational meeting, so that you know, they can meet each other and begin to establish the fact that we do set ourselves apart. We're different. This is about building a relationship of trust and them knowing that we know what we're talking about.
Sure. Okay. And then once they have that face-to-face meeting, they will either say yay or nay, or does it still take time after that? Are they considering other agents?
Well, I always go into it thinking that yes, they are considering other agents. I always think that, you know, it's like a beauty pageant. I mean, nobody has made any commitment to anybody at that point. Yep. But our job is to give them our buyer's guide, show them what we can give to them, and then try to establish a good enough relationship to where, you know, we can present our you know, our key points and why you're better off using us than anybody else, and hopefully they'll just jump right into it. And we have success doing that. Yep. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to land somebody that's talked to 5 agents already and just go, man, you're exactly what I've been looking for.
Sure. So once they make that initial contact, that's the time where if we're going to give them the buyer's guide, we could also give them a little 17 by 22 hard copy printout that says, here's how we're different from everyone. You have everyone surrounding you in this office. Yep. And that's, man, that would be really cool to just, you know, not only wow them with that, but just get them on board instantly with what makes you unique and different.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, in my value proposition to them, you know, I make 3 promises to them. Number 1 is if they make a commitment to work with us, they know that we're making a commitment to work with them also. And if they do that, number 1 is you can cancel this commitment at any time. Just tell me. Don't go off and buy a house with somebody else just because you went to an open house and forgot my number. Yeah. Number 2 is you will end up with a 1-year home warranty somehow, some way, and that's a promise to me. And the 3rd promise is if we sell you a house that you end up just absolutely hating within the first 12 months, I will sell it for free on my end.
So cool. For free if you hate it.
Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to pay a co-op broker if somebody else brings a buyer, but I won't charge them anything to sell their house.
Cool. So that's something we could do on the map visual around, okay, this is where we start to have some fun. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go whiteboard. And keep in mind, this is super rough, super sticky, stick figure-y. But if we were to create a visual, in the middle, I would almost draw some sort of, you know, office building and draw all the different departments, right? And have your client in the middle, obviously, because they're the center of our world. You've got all these different people around. We can label them, right?
Yeah.
What you're getting in-house. It's a nice little office building. From that, let me size this down a little bit. Can't size it down. Okay, so we'll keep rolling. So then we could have here, you know, our promise, our contract, or our promise to you.
Yeah.
And essentially list out the 3 promises, and then we can have somewhere, you know, close to this, maybe a house in someone who's who's frustrated with their house, they don't like it, and you can have that conversation. Hey, we'll sell you the house for free. So you've got all these little mini vignettes within the bigger vignette, if that makes sense.
I like that.
And so this is just out of 5 minutes with you. Once I understand your process, more of your value proposition, man, we can just fold that in. Or maybe those promises are vignettes that go across the bottom, so you can have conversation, with each one of those and really divide them up.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
That makes all the sense in the world. I love that.
And so in technology, in financial services, sometimes stuff goes over people's heads, but when they can see it in front of them laid out in a infographic type manner like that, the understanding is, taking a half an hour conversation, you can probably boil it down to 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yep. Well, because I think so many people are visual these days. I mean, so many people are, they're not necessarily kinesthetic learners. I mean, they're not the ones that have to dance around and actually put their hands on everything. They're more visual, and if they can just see a process, it's going to be so much quicker for them to understand. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I go out with clients that the lender has given them a spreadsheet and all the numbers are right there. It's just as plain as the nose on their face, but they just don't get it until you kind of draw a picture out.
Sure. Well, I spoke to the Bowling Green State University Falcon football team the other night, and I said, when I say pink elephant, I want you to, in your mind's eye, see an image. What do you see? And I said, how many see the words pink, spelled it out, elephant?
Yeah.
How many see, some variation of this, like a Dr. Seuss elephant maybe dancing on a ball? And I pointed to, how many over here? Raise your hand. No one in the room raised their hand. Okay, how many here? Everyone raised their hand. And what I shared with them is that's a drill on, we all think in terms of pictures. We don't think in terms of spreadsheets and words and phrases. And so, and I go back to the caveman days, right, Bruce?
Oh, yeah, right on the wall.
Yes, exactly. I think words were invented 1,000 years ago, but these visuals in caves were like 50, 60,000 years ago. So, but so yeah, that's kind of the idea there. And how many people, you're running the show there, right? Or do you have partners?
Yeah.
You are
running some days it's a bigger show than others. And some days the show runs me.
Yep, I've been there, done that as well. So can I outline for you what would be in a package?
Yeah, please. I mean, at this point, Vince, there's 5 of us on my team, not including my lender team and all that kind of stuff. And so my goal is, but between now and the end of the year, I want a minimum of 4 more agents on my team. I want to have, 7 to 10 agents by the time I move to Tennessee. So, because I can always increase the lead flow. That's not a problem. I just buy more clicks and I buy more websites, and I've got that part of it dialed. I just know what it's going to take for me to live comfortably in Tennessee without having to be in California anymore, because this place is driving me crazy.
Too many liberals?
Oh, God.
Taxes?
It's all of the above, Vince. It's just, you've probably got it figured out right now. I'm kind of a cowboy at heart, and it just, this is not my idea of a good time.
Well, so I hope the transition goes well. That's exciting. They kind of, my parents they moved out to California, then moved back to be with family, and they always talk about, if we would have stayed in California.
Well, I have an apartment in Franklin, Tennessee, because our youngest daughter is back there. She's a country songwriter and artist. And so I go to Tennessee a lot, and I know a lot of people back there, and that's just it's my kind of place.
Sure. And is she in Nashville then, I assume?
Do what?
Was she in Nashville, I assume?
Yeah. Just a little south in Franklin.
Okay. So this, what I'm about to outline, is the marketing map package, if you will. So that you get the visual. What makes up the visual, we'll do this, is at least one solid conversation after this one. Feed me the documents of what I need to kind of process in order to spit back a sample draft.
Okay.
And that's a draft sketch. Once you see that draft sketch, it's this works, that doesn't change this. So then we come back, we revise that. It's still in draft mode, but then once you approve that, then we ink it. And it'll look like that apartment one, that tight, where you can tell ethnicity, you can tell age difference and things of that nature. And then from here, once we'll send that to you, get your final approval, and then we'll color it.
Okay.
So that whole process takes a good month to outline and create. Okay. And then on top of that, what we deliver is that, just like I showed you, a PowerPoint presentation with every kind of section cut up and put into a clean, professional PowerPoint. The other element that we provide, since we're an agency, we've done all kinds of different videos. We'll put that into an animated 2-minute, what I call like a flyover. Just how I broke down that image in real estate apartments for you.
Yep.
We can have a professional voiceover specialist come in and say, whatever script we develop with my writer, starting in the upper right in real estate, we're all traveling to financial retirement, blah, blah, blah. If you point to the left, so it would be a flyover visual. We could probably get people's eyes to blink and move. Just like we've done with some of our comics, but that would be the other thing we would provide in this as well. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like that video that you made for me that you copied off of John's. I mean, I use that a lot, and it does two things. It is very catchy. People love it. The people I show, I don't just send it out at a blanket, because I send it to specific people that I know I would want on my team. Yep. But it does a great job in 2 minutes explaining the differences of who we are versus other teams and other brokerages. Yep. So I love that.
Cool. So yeah, you would get the colorized version, obviously. So it would feel even more finished and polished. Don't get me wrong, the whiteboards work in their own little arena, and they do. So then the last thing that we would include in that package is a series of all the scenes cut up and put into JPEGs.
Okay.
And so that you can use that in direct mail, you can use that social media to just, put clever sayings over top or whatever you want to do. But that's kind of the package for one of these images. And I see you're sitting down. So when I first started doing these pictures, we were working with a company that would create them for Pepsi, Duke Energy, and all these big time corporations. And sometimes they would have learners around the table going through this information all around strategy, process flow, and all that kind of stuff. And those applications were very steep in what we charge people. And then even if they wanted a vision map, that was in the range of 20 to 30K.
Yeah.
For one package that you see right here, it would be $9,995 for that.
Okay.
And essentially, you get all that stuff in that package. You get that map, you get the video, and the PowerPoint, which is really, really awesome.
Well, I think I think you get a lot of mileage out of that. And what am I hearing you say that it would be something that would be created that could be used for both agents and clients, or are we going to have to make two of these?
So I think we would have to make two, just because if you're speaking in two different markets, you could try and jam everything in there, but just like you said when you first saw it, it's like, whoa, what the hell is this? It's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's the reason I asked for it.
There's a balance there, you know what I mean? So one that's more process oriented, and then one that's just more benefit driven, if that makes sense.
Well, it makes a lot more sense. And the other thing is, I think that, I would want to start with the one that speaks to the clients, because I think this would be a tool that I can train my agents to use, and they could get a lot more value out of it. Because if what I'm trying to do is increase, the conversion rate, then this makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, the other thing, once we get through this first initial phase, you could probably develop this into a nice little booklet as well. Just where we have just one phrase on one side. I'm trying to think if I've got a sample of that. But there's so many different things you can do to just give them that shock and awe package in that initial meeting, where you're giving them that buyer's guide, but then you're also giving them this little illustrated book along with a poster. No one in your niche is doing that, I guarantee you.
I promise you they're not. I mean, I've got guys like Tom Daves out here, who is like, one of the biggest guys in the country. I mean, he's a friend of mine. He just left Keller Williams and went to EXP, and took about 9 million people with him. But the funny part about Tom is he gets all of his traction off of the videos he pays for with Barbara Cochran, and so, I guess that makes him like that. But when it comes to me and him both doing a listing presentation, the presentation that I have now blows him out of the water. So something like this, I mean, it would be light years ahead of what I'd see out there.
Yeah.
So
let's do this, man.
You know what? I love the idea. I totally love the idea. I think I'm on board with it. Is it possible for you to send me the recording of this? Because I want to share it with my wife. Because I have this rule in the last 39 years that I never spend over $5,000 without talking to her.
That's why you're still married, man. Right?
I tell you what, it has worked so far. And so, I mean, I would love for her to just see what we just did.
Yeah. And you're already started. I already have a basis for it. I know it's not like I'm just going to be starting on a blank slate. We already made traction and already took a couple steps in that direction.
Yeah.
And so now it's just, okay, what other elements we want to have in here? What are the objections? And put a section in there around, you can put it as their concerns, and you can address it one by one.
Yep.
And so hopefully she can see the value of that and having it in a visual manner laid out. Let me ask you this.
She's pretty smart. She'll get it.
Let me ask you this, Bruce. Is there any reason why she might say no?
No. I don't see any reason at all.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, other than the fact that, it's $10,000, but I mean, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
It's going to be like everything else I've ever done. And I've done some crazy things. I've let her off the cliff more times than you can count. But, she'll always just kind of go, okay, here we go.
Well, if we can get that 2 or 3% to 6%, what's that going to do for your business?
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, that's all I'm thinking about. I mean, $10,000 is a lot of money. There's no question about it. But if I can increase that, even 1%, it would be just awesome. If I could increase it 2 or 3%, that would be game changing. Yeah. So I don't see a problem with this, Vince. I really don't. I mean, it's like whatever.
If we agree to do 2, I can, as long as we're agreeing up front to do 2, I can cut a little off that bottom line. And
okay.
We wouldn't charge all at the same time, but it would just let me know, hey, they're serious about both. And we'll start the first one, the first month and a half, and start the second one. That lets me know, work's coming, and so I can work with you on that.
I get it. I like your style, and it makes all the sense in the world to me. I only had a W-2 job once in my life, and that didn't last long. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
okay, what I'll do is I'll get a proposal over to you end of day today. I'll get this recording downloaded. I'll throw it up on AdTunes and send a link over to you, and we'll go from there, man.
That's awesome, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much. Look forward to working with you, Bruce.
Yeah, me too, Vince. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.